If you are new to Google Tag Manager and want to get it set up and installed on your WordPress website or blog so that you can easily install tracking scripts like the Facebook Pixel or Google Analytics or whatever script that you like, then this video is for you. Don't worry if you're not at all tech savvy, I'll walk you through this step by step and show you my cover your butt strategy that helps safeguard you against possible errors when installing the code. Hey guys, Kevin at TRU LIFT Digital Marketing, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs help others through their products and services with digital marketing. Welcome to the video Google Tag Manager Install for Beginners. Let's get started with what is Google Tag Manager. When I created my first website in 1996, there was no such thing as tracking codes. Heck, there wasn't even Google yet. But not too long ago, it used to be that there was likely one or maybe two tracking codes you would likely install on your website to track various activities or actions. Likely Google Analytics, or even possibly Google Webmaster Tools, which is now called Google Search Console. Now, with the advent of tracking pixels from Facebook and Google, along with other analytics tracking codes that you might want to use, like Crazy Egg, Hotjar, or whatever else, the need for an easier way to add those codes to your site gave rise to Google Tag Manager. The concept is rather straightforward. Instead of individually inserting code on your site for the ones I mentioned, separate code inserted for Facebook, separate code for Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google AdWords, Crazy Egg, Hotjar, etc., which, if you are not tech savvy, can be tedious, confusing, and possibly lead to conflicts between the tracking codes. Now, you just place one universal tracking code on your site one time for Google Tag Manager, and then you insert the individual codes easily into Google Tag Manager. This greatly simplifies the installation of tracking codes, and on top of that, is my favorite price, free. With that said, I'll show you how to get Google Tag Manager installed on your website. Here we are inside of my WordPress dashboard, and as a first step, I'm going to open up a new tab in my browser and do a Google search for Google Tag Manager. The first option is the one that I want. Alternatively, of course, you can just enter google.com/analytics/tag-manager directly into your browser and hit enter. I'll click on that first option. Now, this particular site gives you access to many features within Google, as you can see at the top, including Analytics, Tag Manager, which we're on now, Optimize, etc. Since I'm already in the Tag Manager section, I'm just going to click on the big green button, Sign Up for free. I have a few different Google accounts, but the one I want is here, so I'll just click on that one. For you, if you only have one Google account, your browser will likely just pop up one option for you to sign up with. And if you don't yet have a Google account, you'll have to sign up for one. Just follow the prompts that appear on your screen to do that. My password is saved and pre-populated for me, so I'll just click Next to sign in. If you don't have your password saved in your browser, you may have to manually enter it. And that loads up the admin area of Google Tag Manager. If you've never been in here before, you should see something similar to this screen. Google is forever changing how their interface looks, so your screen may appear slightly different, but what I'm referring to will be located somewhere here. You just may have to look around a bit. You can set up multiple accounts inside of each Google account that you have if you have multiple businesses that you want to have Google Tag Manager set up for. Let's just assume that you have one business that you are setting up now, but if in the future you set up another business, just know that this account level is where you would enter that new business name. Just enter the name of your business in the first blank. For me, that is TRU LIFT Digital Marketing. You can share your data with Google if you want. Here's some more information on that. I'm not going to do that. I'll just click Continue. And then within each business, you have various web assets, I'll call them, that you can set up in what Google Tag Manager refers to as a container. When I say various web assets, what I mean is, if you are setting up a full web presence and/or marketing funnel, you will have your website, but then you may also have other URLs or websites related to your business, like landing pages or squeeze pages, that you create with a page builder like ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, Optimize Press, etc., that you want to track actions on as well. I personally use ClickFunnels, but in this video, we're just going to focus on getting Google Tag Manager on your website for now. If what I said didn't make much sense, then don't worry about it for now. If you want to check out more information on creating a web presence and marketing funnels, just check out our other videos on our channel or visit our website at truliftdigital.com. If you are just setting up Google Tag Manager for your website, like I am for now, then you just need to create a container for that. If down the road you decide you wish to use Google Tag Manager for other related pages or sites in the same business or account, you would just repeat this next step to create a container for those separate pages that you want to put tracking codes into. Just enter your website below container name. You don't have to enter the URL, just something that identifies your site to you, but I will for mine, truliftdigital.com. I'm interested in tracking activity on my website, so I'll click Web, and then Create. And of course, the ever-present terms of service. Have a read through that. I'm just going to click on yes to accept those. Here you have the instructions on how to install the Google Tag Manager code onto your website. What you have here are two pieces of code called code snippets, or it could be referred to as tracking scripts or simply scripts, that you need to place in your website's HTML, which is your website's code. Just so you know, below the snippets, there's a link you can click on if you want for a quick start guide. There are a number of ways that you can get these code snippets on your website. The first way, if you installed a new theme on your website, your theme may have an easy script install method as part of that theme. What I have found personally with the themes that I have used is that while those easy script installs can be handy for most codes or scripts, the specific code of Google Tag Manager doesn't really work well inside them, and so I'm just going to skip showing you those in this video as I don't have a great example in the themes that I have used to show you. The second method is what I refer to as the manual method, which is the one that I'll be showing you in this video. Method number 3 involves the use of plugins within WordPress. If you are interested in learning how to do this using a plugin, I also have a video on how to use the DuracellTomi plugin that I will link to in the description area below this video. And finally, if you are uncomfortable with doing it yourself, you can always get a web developer or someone else to do it for you. If you're not tech savvy though, have no fear, I'm going to walk you through this step by step. The good news is you only have to install the Google Tag Manager code once, and that's it. Before we go ahead, I just want to add a small point. I'm starting this section off assuming that you have not created any tracking codes on your site yet. If you have, for example, already installed Google Analytics using some other method, make sure to not double install any code snippet. By that I mean, to follow the Google Analytics example, don't install Google Tag Manager and then put Google Analytics inside of Google Tag Manager if you have installed Google Analytics directly on your site, as that will double count your data and give you skewed numbers in your reporting. Either delete the tracking code that you already put directly onto your site and use Google Tag Manager to put that code back on your site, or if you're already getting data on that tracking code that you want to keep and you don't want to delete that code, just don't add that specific tracking code back on your site again by putting it inside of Google Tag Manager. I feel like I talked it in a bit of a circle there, but hopefully that made some sense. If you haven't put any tracking code on your site yet, then don't worry about what I just said. I'm just going to go back to the Google Tag Manager tab. First, highlight the code in the top box and copy it by clicking Ctrl-C in PC or Command-C if you use a Mac. This places the first part of the code into your clipboard. Just like it says, you need to paste the code as high in the head of the page as possible. I'll show you what that means right away. I'm just going to go back to the WordPress dashboard of my website. If you're not logged in there yet, you'll have to do so. I'm just going to go down the left sidebar to Appearance, hover over that, and then slide over to Editor and click on that. Now, depending on what theme you have and what version of WordPress you are using, you may see a slightly different screen. Also, if you have not gone inside of this editor area before, your screen may be showing you a warning like this one. This is a screenshot of what your screen might look like if this is your first time in here. As it says here, editing this code is highly discouraged. Proceed with caution. And the reason for that is, if you are not tech savvy and you screw something up in this section, you can actually break your site and have a hell of a time trying to figure out how to fix it. Having said that, I'm going to show you step by step here in the next few minutes exactly what to do to add your Google Tag Manager code, and also show you a way that I protect myself from the possible errors that it is warning you about here with what I referred to earlier as my cover your butt method. Although it doesn't really require a special title, it's pretty basic. If you don't feel comfortable following along with me, then that's cool. Like I said earlier, you can just get somebody else to install this code for you if you want to have Google Tag Manager on your site. Perhaps you will want to watch what I do in the next few minutes before making any changes on your site, and if you then feel comfortable editing some code after you see what I'm about to do, then just come back to this part of the video and click on the Proceed button here to do that. Before you do, however, I would also suggest at this point, as an additional precaution, that you back up your website. If you are not sure how to do that, I will leave a link in the description area of this video to another video that will show you how to do just that. I'll just switch back to my live screen now. I've already installed the Avada theme on my site, but no matter what theme you're using, select your active theme from the drop-down on the right side here, and then scroll down the right side until you find header.php, which for me is this one here, theme header with header.php in brackets. So just click on that, which will load up the code for that particular section of your website. If you remember back on the Google Tag Manager page we were just on, you need to place the code as high in the head section as possible. If you're not familiar with code, this right here is the opening tag for the head section. It just has this style of open bracket, the word head, and then the same style closing bracket with no spaces. Think of it like the chapter heading in a book. This section is the head chapter. And then if you scroll down the page, you will eventually find the closing tag for the head section, or like the end of the chapter. Not all HTML tags are like this, but for the head tag, you will know that this is the end of the chapter, or the closing tag, because after the opening bracket, you will have this / before the word head, which denotes a closing tag. Everything between the opening head tag and the closing head tag is the head section of your website, or like I said, kind of like a chapter in a book. You just need to paste the code that we copied to your computer's clipboard as high in this section as possible. The reason to place it as high in the head section as possible is when your web page loads, they typically load by reading your code from the top to the bottom. If you've ever been on a page that loads slowly, which can happen when either you have a slow internet connection or the site is very data rich, i.e. lots of video, etc., there may be instances when the user, after waiting, just decides to leave. The point of installing tracking codes is to let you know things like slow load times, etc. by placing your code as high in the respective section as possible, which will give your code a better chance of getting loaded and getting you that kind of information, even if the user leaves. Hopefully I explained that okay. Now that we are up to the opening head tag, we could just place our cursor after the opening tag, obviously as high as you can get in the head section, click enter and paste that code. Now because I'm admittedly not very tech savvy, I'll show you a quick trick or hack that I use to protect myself from my screw-ups to cover my butt that should also give you some more confidence if what I said earlier about breaking your site made you nervous. It takes a bit of back and forth, but it really has saved my butt a few times, so here we go. Rather than just paste the code directly from my clipboard after the head tag immediately, I go up a little above the area that I'm going to change with my mouse to give myself a reference point, and then I highlight the text down to just a bit past where I'm going to insert the new text. And then I copy that, Command-C in my case, Control-C if you're on a PC, which copies that text into my clipboard. Then I go to a text editor. That can be anything that you use like Word or Google Sheets, Evernote, etc. I usually put my stuff in Microsoft OneNote, so I'll open that up. I'll just type the word before so that I know that this is what it looked like before I made the changes, and then I paste the information from my clipboard, Control or Command-V. By doing this extra step, what I've actually now done is replaced what was in my clipboard, which was the code that I needed from Google Tag Manager. So I will have to go back to the Google Tag Manager tab and copy that same highlighted portion again, Control or Command-C, and then go back to my WordPress dashboard. Now I can place that code after the opening head tag here. So I'll just put my cursor after the closing bracket and hit enter. And then I paste the code which added this new bit of code from Google Tag Manager here. Now that the code has been added, I go up above the area that has changed and I highlight the text down to below the change that I made and copy that. Go back to OneNote or whatever text editor you are using. I'll enter the words after to let me know that this is how things looked after I made the change. And then paste that after section, Command or Control-V. And then I usually just highlight the section that is new, just to make it easier for me to see what the change was. Just to sum up what I just did and why, all I've really done is just copied and pasted the section of the code on my website, first the way that it was before I made the changes, and then copied and pasted the same thing with the changes made, and then highlighted the changes that I made so that I'm clear what I actually added. The reason for that being, if after I make these changes and go back to my website, if I notice that something isn't working right, I know that it is likely due to the change that I made, in which case I would just go back to this page in OneNote and use it to undo what I've done. In this case, the section I added is highlighted in yellow, so I would just go back to the header.php section of my website and delete the section I added, resave it, and that should fix the problem. Remember, as an extra precaution, you should have also backed up your website. So if there still is a problem, you can just go back to the way things were before you made these changes. So now you're only halfway through the code install of Google Tag Manager. So I have to go back to Google Tag Manager and do the same thing with this text in the lower box, but this time I need to place this code into the body section of my website. So I copy that and go back to my WordPress admin page. Now I'm looking for the body tag from my website, so I'll just scroll down. It should be right after the closing head tag or shortly after it. Here's the closing head tag, and here's the opening body tag. Normally this opening tag would just be open bracket, the word body, and then a closing bracket, but this opening body tag has another tag embedded in it. Don't let that throw you off. As long as you see an opening bracket, immediately followed by the word body with no spaces, you are looking at the opening body tag. Now I could just go to the end of this tag or chapter heading section, hit enter and paste that code, but I'll perform that extra step again to cover my butt. If you don't feel like you need that extra step, of course you can just skip this, but I'm just going to highlight the text from say here to somewhere down like here. Copy that and go back to OneNote. Type before and then paste. Then go back to the Google Tag Manager tab and copy that code again because it was replaced inside of my clipboard, Control or Command C. Go back to my dashboard, then after the opening body tag, I'll hit Enter. Then paste that piece of code, Control or Command V, which is this section here. So I'll highlight all of that and a little bit more, copy that and go back to OneNote, type after, I'll just put a space first, paste that section, and then highlight the part that I just added. And there you go, that's that. I would then save this page somewhere, likely using the current date so that I know when these changes were made. Then if anything screws up on my site, I have a good reference area for how to put them back to the way it was before. Admittedly, this is an extra step that likely takes longer to explain than it does to actually do, but I think it's always a good idea to be safe. If you don't feel like you need this step, of course just skip it. And one more thing, once you have done that, go back to your dashboard, scroll down to the bottom of the page, actually scroll down the side here, and click on Update File to save your changes. And it says File Edited Successfully. If you are seeing the same thing, congratulations. You have just installed your Google Tag Manager code on your website. You can now start to add other various tracking codes or scripts into your Google Tag Manager. Codes like Facebook pixels, Google Analytics, etc., which you can find how to do on our YouTube channel. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate you hitting the thumbs up button below this video. Our goal here at TRU LIFT is to help more business owners and entrepreneurs help more people through the products and services they offer, and hitting that like button allows this video to help more people. If you're new here and you like what you've seen so far, why not hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell to get notified of new videos as soon as we put them out. And then leave a quick comment if you like to introduce yourself. I'd love to hear about what you're looking to do and how I might be able to help. I'll end this video here, but to ensure that the code you just installed is working properly, your next step is to verify your Google Tag Manager code. To learn how to verify that your Google Tag Manager code is in fact working properly, just click on the video link on your screen right now or in the description area below this video and you'll be taken directly there. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves and your loved ones.